Good morning, readers. I know that we have talked a lot about reading play dates, whether you're playing school or playing games or playing pretend with the books we've read. We practiced all of these things with storybooks, and I know yesterday we talked about what's the same and what's different with nonfiction books. But the truth is, avid readers, they read using all of these tools with storybooks and with nonfiction books. So this one, especially playing pretend, is something that we got really good at doing with storytelling books like Three Billy Goats Gruff or many of the books we've read. But you can act things out, you can use gestures with nonfiction books too. So thinking about a nonfiction topic that I know you talked about with Miss Kaplan last time we were in class was the Venus flytrap. So if you think about that Venus flytrap, think about how you might be able to act it out. To refresh your memory, since we had such a long spring break, I wanted to give you a chance to see the video again. So I'm going to play the video, and while you watch it, be thinking, what could I do with my body, or what could I do with my arms, or just my hands even, to act out what's happening in this video with the Venus flytraps to show that you understand what's going on. So I'm going to play it for us, and we can enjoy, and then we'll get back together.
The Venus flytrap. Like the sundew, it makes itself very attractive, oozing nectar across the brim of each leaf. But any visiting insect had better watch out for these 6 tiny hairs. This fly has to tread carefully. If it strikes one hair, it can carry on feeding, but a timer has been set. A second strike in less than 20 seconds, and the fly is doomed. An electrical impulse is triggered, and the leaf snaps shut in just a fraction of a second. The tips lock together like prison bars. If the fly is very big or very small, it may just manage to escape. But most are trapped and die. Ten days later, the trap reopens. All that remains is a husk.
Okay, so I think we saw enough of that video to be able to act it out. I don't know if you saw me down in the corner, but while I was watching, I was thinking if I was going to be like the fly or maybe like the Venus flytrap, how I would act it out. So maybe think for yourself and don't just think about it. Actually, act it out right now. Take a few seconds and you show what you would do to act out being the Venus flytrap. I hope you've thought of some good ideas. If you did see me, I was kind of going like this, with my hands and thinking, well, it opens like this, and then once the little hairs inside are triggered, it shuts closed. But to show I understand even more, and maybe you did this, rather than just shutting close, open, close like this, it has those claw-like things around the edges that are really shut, and I'm going to use my fingers to be like those claws because they really trap something inside and they hold it there until it dies. And I felt some empathy for that fly, but this is how the Venus flytraps survive, and it's pretty interesting stuff. And so if you see, acting it out and using these kind of gestures shows that I understand. I hope you were thinking about things the same, but it's much easier to do when you watch a video or a movie like this. I was hoping you would help me do it with maybe a page from our Honeybees book. So our Honeybees book has lots of really interesting information. We learned quite a bit yesterday, but I want to show you a couple more pages. When I show you this first page, I'll read it to you, and I want you to think about how you could act this out. Honeybees collect pollen and nectar from flowers. It seems like such a simple page. Honeybees collect pollen and nectar from flowers. So, since it's so simple, you show how you would act it out. I'm going to do the same. Maybe I have one hand that's a flower, and then I have maybe a bee, and it comes and lands on the flower, just like this. But it doesn't say honeybees collect pollen and nectar from flower. It says flowers. So I know that this bee's going to have to fly from more than one flower. Maybe there's a flower over here, maybe a flower over here, and it collects all of its pollen and nectar. So hopefully you were able to think of it. Let's do one more page together. It's a pretty similar one, but see if you could think of a way to act this out. Honeybees drink nectar from flowers with their proboscis. So the picture down here is labeling what the proboscis is. It looks like it's coming right out of their head, almost like a mouth that goes down and grabs or drinks the nectar from the flowers. So pretend you're a honeybee and use your proboscis. Think about what could you use that could, if you're using your hand to be the honeybee, what could stick out of your hand? Oh, I hope you were thinking your finger. That's what I was thinking. Just your finger can you can grab on, and then your finger can maybe be like the proboscis getting after it, all of the nectar. And when you act things out like that, it can be super, super helpful to help you understand. So today, we are going to do this play pretend when we read. You have a chance to look at some nonfiction books, and you can stick with the same topics of the books you were looking at yesterday if you want, or you can switch topics and you can go to maybe a different kind of topic. Maybe you want to do vehicles today, or maybe you'd like to do something about animals, or maybe something about science. I'm not sure, but whatever you have in your house, whether it's something on the Rivet app or any book that you have in your house that's a nonfiction book, you can read it, think about it, and then act out what's happening. And remember, that acting out helps you to understand better, and it helps you talk a little bit more about what's happening. So think about what books you're going to get, and I want you to have fun reading today. Off you go.